Anybody else? Yes?
Okay, so the recommendation is to find the most credible critics of a topic. How do you know? If you don't know about the topic, how do you know who are the most credible critics?
Oh God, you totally speak to the challenge that we have in the social media world. How do we know what a credible criticism is? For me, I have to start with the basics. That's the best I can do. If I see it posted by the Daily Mail, right, or if I see it posted by Natural News, or some of these places that they have been long criticized for being hubs of misinformation, I just don't go there. If they are operating with a specific bias or agenda, that's why I don't share anything from Occupy Democrats or any of those places, because they are notoriously lazy for not sourcing the material that they post. I just think you have to start by saying, is it the Inquirer or is it Time Magazine? Is it Scientific American or is it David Avocado Wolf? I think we can at least start there and begin to say, these people have a system for peer review. They are a known quantity. But you're right. It's a tremendous challenge for us to separate the wheat from the chaff when there's so much information, and especially since so many pseudoscience and pseudo-historic websites have legitimate sounding names and legitimate looking websites. It's so tough. And I think Facebook and those cats they're going through the same challenge right now. How do we filter the legitimate from the illegitimate while also protecting free speech? There is no simple answer. I wish I had one for you. Anybody else? Yes?
Actually, I have two questions. The first is, do you trust Snopes?
I do trust Snopes because it is. I don't trust everything. Snopes is one of those websites that is so critically analyzed, and it's managed from so many levels that I think it would be very difficult for pseudoscience to get through the cracks. But they're not going to be perfect. But the fact that the Ethiopian pastor story failed on so many other levels, and it was also revealed in Snopes, which sourced many of the same things, I was able to use Snopes as a piece of a larger puzzle. But Snopes is largely a helpful resource for helping to, right at the front end of something, Snopes is a great way to say, hey, wait a minute, has this already been looked into and debunked before I embarrass myself in front of all my friends? And there are more than a few times I wish I had gone to Snopes before I had reposted something. What was the second question?
I just have a comment about Ken Burns' films.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Roosevelts?
I haven't seen The Roosevelts.
It's awesome. It's better than the Civil War. Isn't it awesome?
I never got the Civil War, right? They taught us in school, they taught us the statistics, and this battle happened here, and this battle happened here, and this is slavery, and Abraham Lincoln, and they did whatever, but they taught us in such a clinical way. I toured the battlefields, and yes, there was, I was learning some, but I didn't feel the Civil War in my bones. Being a child who was born in 1968, when I watched the Civil War, for the first time, I felt that moment of human history in my bones, and I got it. And I'm like, this is what a great storyteller does, And we as atheists struggle with this because I think we're often out there trying to talk about data points. Here's the evidence, data point, bullet point, data point, evidence. But the truth is that most people's minds aren't changed when we start with data. Most people's minds are changed when we connect with them on an emotional level. And that often means telling stories. What's the story of you vetting the content in the Bible and realizing it wasn't true? What was the story of the epiphany you had in your mind whenever you started to give yourself permission to doubt? What was the story when you first came out of religion and said you were an atheist? What's the story when you told your family about it and found community perhaps elsewhere? When they did accept you or didn't? What's the story when you decided you were going to live the rest of your life on your terms? You can use data throughout the story, but the story is what brings that sucker to life. Ken Burns is a master at storytelling, and he's great at bringing those even clinical things to life in a very deeply